Hello, folks. I just had root canal. Yeah, this one. And if I sound like this, it's because actually the Novocaine is mostly worn off. And you know what I just read yesterday? It's not Novocaine anymore. I've been saying Novocaine for years, but apparently Novocaine they don't use that anymore. I don't know what they use, but they use something. Works the same as Novocaine, I guess. Finished this book finally. I finished reading Red Pine's commentary on the Diamond Sutra last night, I think, and it's really good. Sometimes when I am working on these videos and I don't have time to work on them, I write little notes to myself that remind me of what I'm going to talk about. And what I wrote is, fear is like buying a Christmas present for someone you don't know. That is related to the Heart, no, the Diamond Sutra, not the Heart Sutra. Well, it might be related to the Heart Sutra too. Now, I gave a talk about the Diamond Sutra on January 2nd on the Zoom thingy that we do with Angel City Zen Center every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Saturday, every Friday morning, and probably even times that I don't know. So go to aczc.org and find out about all those and come along and sit with us. Anyway, I did a talk about that, and I based my talk on a chapter of the Shobogenzo, in which Dogen talks a little bit about the Diamond Sutra. And I talked about this maybe a month ago on this channel, completely unrelated to the Diamond Sutra, or I can't remember how much. It might have been slightly related to the Diamond Sutra, but anyway, not specifically about the Diamond Sutra. And I think it was called Mind in Buddhism is Really Weird. Something like that. And it is Shinfu Katoku is the name of the chapter in Shobogenzo, which I believe Nishijima Roshi translates as mind cannot be grasped. So the story is that there's this guy who's supposed to be the master of the Diamond Sutra, and he knows everything about the Diamond Sutra, and he meets this old lady on the road, and the old lady is selling rice cakes, which the colloquial name for them in Chinese translates to mind refreshers. And so she asks him, hey, which mind do you want to refresh? No, wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. She asks him, in the Diamond Sutra it says, mind of the past cannot be grasped, mind of the future cannot be grasped, mind of the present cannot be grasped. What mind do you intend to refresh with my mind refreshers, my cookies, my little rice cakes that she's making? And he can't answer, and then he gets defeated, but then he goes and studies Buddhism, becomes a great master later on, but it's because he goes from very intellectual sort of study of Buddhism to a very practical sort of real-world study of Buddhism, and that's the main lesson of that chapter. And there's a lot more to it than that, but that's the short version. So, I was thinking about this mind of the past cannot be grasped, mind of the present cannot be grasped, mind of the future cannot be grasped. That phrase has meant a lot to me in my journey with Buddhism. I can remember quoting it at people years ago, well before I wrote any books about Buddhism and before anybody knew me as a Zen teacher or anything like that. I would just bring this up to people. It was one of the few little Zen quotes I would throw around to people back in those days, and because it meant so much to me. But I thought, as I was giving the talk on Saturday, that it might sound a little abstract. Mind of the past cannot be grasped, mind of the present cannot be grasped, mind of the future cannot be grasped. And as I was giving this talk, a thought occurred to me, and I'm going to tell it to you now. It was spontaneous on Saturday, and I guess there'll be a podcast, or maybe there already is a podcast also at aczc.org, which you can listen to the whole thing if you want to, and you can listen to me coming up spontaneously with it. Was that it was like buying a Christmas present, that fear is like buying a Christmas present for somebody you don't know. Why? You may ask. Well, there's a tradition in my girlfriend's family of the Secret Santa, and ever since I've been dating her, I've been part of the Secret Santa thing. This is for several years now, and the deal is everybody puts their names in a on slips of paper and puts them in a bowl or something, and then you pull out a name, and that is the person you have to buy a Christmas present for. And if I pull out my girlfriend's name, it's great because I can have some idea what she wants. Her brothers are a little easier. Her parents, I have no idea. Her sister, it's like, oh my God, if I still haven't gotten her yet, but if I do, it'll be terrible because I have no idea. So here's the thing. Whenever there's another person in your life, such as your girlfriend's family members. You have an image of them in your mind. And if you're supposed to buy a Christmas present for that person, you think about that image that you have of the person in your mind and think, well, what can I, I'll manipulate that image and see if I give it a bag of dog food, is it going to be happy? If I give it a diamond ring, is it going to be happy? If I give it a copy of the Beatles' White Album on virgin vinyl, is it going to be happy? Whatever. White vinyl, maybe. That would be better than virgin vinyl. Anyway, virgin white vinyl, even better. But so you manipulate these things in your head and you try to figure out what that person is going to like, right? Well, when we talk about the mind of the future cannot be grasped, we all carry that same sort of image around in our heads of ourselves. We don't realize that because we kind of think of that image of ourselves as being real in some way, but it's just as put together as the image that you have of anybody else. It's just as much of a hodgepodge of things. And fear is when you're predicting the future for that image of yourself. So, for example, I mentioned I got root canal. And of course, it wasn't a whole lot of fun. I'll admit this to you right now. I had to have 2 appointments for this damn thing. Usually they can get it done in one, but I guess my teeth are screwy in the back there, and he had to do it in 2 appointments. And so the first appointment was real painful because the Novocaine, which isn't Novocaine apparently, kept wearing off, and you kept having to inject. I think you had to do it like 4 times during the course of the operation. You had to re-inject the Novocaine, or not Novocaine, whatever the hell it is, because it hurt so bad. That wasn't as bad this morning, but of course that memory of the first appointment is in my head before I go to the second appointment. So I'm like, oh my God, am I going to have the 4 injections of Novocaine during this thing? And in which time, he has to stop and wait for the Novocaine to have effect, and then it slows everything down. Well, it didn't happen, and while it wasn't exactly a pleasant experience, it wasn't that bad this morning. It was just, really annoying, mostly just going like this for 2 hours, but it wasn't terribly painful. But so while I was anticipating this the other day, the days leading up to today when I had the appointment, I'm building the Brad image that I have in my head up and thinking about what Brad is going to experience in the future with this dental appointment. It's the same with any sort of fear experience that you have. You're projecting in the future and imagining it. Well, in this case, I can tell you it wasn't as bad as I imagined it was. And if I think back to my past, I don't think there's anything that I ever anticipated as being really, really horrible that turned out to be nearly as horrible as it was actually at the time. Even the worst experiences I've ever had, when the anticipation of them was always worse, made them worse than the actual event. So you can kind of relax with that, because it's that attempt to grasp the future, the mind of the future, that's making you have all this anxiety today. But if you remember that mind of the future cannot be grasped, then it's a nice little mnemonic for going, don't do that. Don't try to grasp the mind of the future. Same with mind of the past. It's regret. Regrets you're trying to grab onto. You can't get them. Mind of the present, you can't grab it. You are nothing. You are nobody. You think you're somebody, but you're nobody. That's mind of the present cannot be grasped. So rather than this thing being a kind of abstract philosophical proposition that you're kind of keeping in mind, and you're, like I was before I got into Zen more deeply, just throwing it out to strangers on the street. Not strangers, but I'd mention it to friends and things, and they go, ooh, that's weird. And I go, yeah, that's weird. It's Buddhism. Make myself seem really smarty pants for being able to say some dumb thing that I learned in a piece of Buddhist literature. But it's not a dumb thing. It's a little mnemonic to help you remember not to even try that, and it can be useful in helping life be a little better. So there you go. That's why. What did I say? Let's say it exactly the way I said. Fear is like buying a Christmas present for someone you don't know. That's why. So thank you very much for that, for watching that. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to send me a donation to the link you're seeing below. Not to the link you're seeing below, but the link you're seeing below will take you to Patreon and PayPal links, which you can send me a donation by. That is my only way of making a living. So I really appreciate those of you who do donate and do keep supporting me. So thank you very much. If you're having financial trouble, I'm managing. I could pay my dental bill and everything. It was all right. But the reason I could pay my dental bill is because of you folks donating all the time. So I really, really appreciate that. But, like I say, if you're poor and having trouble, don't worry. I'm hanging in there. So we will see you later. Have a good time all the time. Bye.